New York City, less than 72 hours later, we're trash again. It's the front office. Let's talk about it. I I don't know if I want to start with the Knicks or the Nets. I have notes here. I'm trying to be professional. I'm trying to find a way I want to do this. I'm actually sitting in my backyard in beautiful Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. It's a brisk autumn evening. And as I sit here and contemplate life, investments, allegiances, I can't help but wonder, what have I done wrong in life to love basketball so much and unfortunately root for New York City basketball teams? Now, long before I was born, my baseball team left. After that, my disillusioned grandfather, Thomas Martin, he looked at sports really just, as long as it says New York, it doesn't really matter. Because you see, my grandfather fought in World War II. He got the GI Bill. And like a lot of successful black families in Bed-Stuy, he used the GI Bill to buy a brownstone in Brooklyn. And he believed in the American dream and, putting his studious, smart, academian children through school. That was what black people did back then. And my grandfather was a day laborer. My father is famous to tell us that all the time, that with all these fancy job titles we all have, my grandfather raised 6 kids to be Brooklyn Dodger fans and go to college and do well. Working at the Navy Yard as a day laborer. Being a Brooklyn Dodger fan was a part of being from Brooklyn. I'm putting you on the cultural things that a lot of people don't really understand unless you're, and I have the benefit of looking at it from 2 ways. I'm Haitian. My mother came from Haiti in 1972. She was fleeing political unrest. They had jailed my grandfather. And, my Haitian side of the family were literally fleeing Haiti because Papa Doc, the Haitian dictator, was installing his son, Baby Doc, as the new dictator, and they wanted no politically powerful people. So that's when all these Haitians flooded New York, the Frenchies. And guess what? My mom, wanting to raise her son to be a normal American boy, of course, very Haitian at the same time, she taught us the American customs, and she noticed in her high school, and she went to Wingate High School here in Brooklyn, of course, and she saw how much basketball was a part of the culture. So she took us to basketball games. She had our uncles take us to basketball games. Said, listen, take Eve down to this basketball game I'm hearing about with the young, strong American guy that can jump. You know, I don't know, maybe I think he's got a PhD. They call him Dr. J. Go take him to see it. I was 4 years old. I was young. And my uncles took me out to Nassau Coliseum, where amidst a lot of hoopla that I can remember, because it's when you take little children to games, it's jarring. You know, it becomes a thing in their life. Like, where I remember where we sat was high up, but Nassau Coliseum had these big tunnels. And I just remember seeing like people just getting really excited about the dude with the big afro. How fast the people were running down the court. Like, I wanted to get on the court and just race people. Like, I didn't even understand basketball. It was like, oh, you can run fast. I could run fast. I remember that, Nets fans, Knicks fans. New York City basketball, we have these memories of our childhood, and we have these allegiances with these teams. What have they done for us? I'm going to start with the Knicks because I'm more emotional about the Nets. The Knicks press conference the other day with Mills and Perry is embarrassing. I feel embarrassed because, again, I travel for business, and people are always like, "Yo, what's your NBA team?" I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, sir. Thank you very much. Oh man, shit, sorry. You know how that feels when people apologize to me for my poor decision making in picking a basketball team. I have a friend that's an Orlando Magic fan because he started watching basketball when they had Shaq and Penny. Joke's on you, Jack. Right. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, and I used to be a Knicks fan when I didn't have a choice. I hated being a Knicks fan. Growing up, I loved Kenny Anderson. You know, when Kenny Anderson was killing them in New York City high school ball, it was like a treat for my uncles to take me down to certain high school games in and around Brooklyn. And you would see Kenny Anderson. And so when Kenny Anderson went pro when I was in junior high school now, it was like, yo, you know, homeboy with the high dribble. Like, Kenny Anderson would dribble like incredible handles, and he would be standing straight up. That was amazing to me, man. And when the Nets drafted him, I looked at the Nets. I was like, oh shit. The Knicks got all these old dudes. They just traded Rod Strickland. I wish I could be a Nets fan, but I'm not from New Jersey. It's about New York. I'm never going to go against New York City. I'm one of New York City's own. So now I suffered until that day I saw those steel girders go in the hole in the ground on the corner of Flatbush and Atlantic. I said, now, based on my principles, I can emancipate myself from the tyranny of being a fan of the New York Knicks. Now, I wasn't going to become a Chicago Bulls fan, or even more dastardly, a San Antonio Spurs fan. Every time I meet someone from New York who says, yo, I'm a Spurs fan, I'm going to slap them. This is about New York City pride, James Dolan. This is about New York City's honor, Joseph Tsai. How are we having press conferences? Because the team is 2-8. Who does that? The Knicks do that. The Knicks had a press conference to basically let fans know that we are as unstable and as unprofessional as they are. We're talking about honor, Knicks fans. Like, you go other places and you have your ridiculous orange and blue shit on, and you say, hey, I'm a Knicks fan. People look at you not with like sneer or laughter. They pity you. They look at you and say, how did you make that life choice? We're from New York City. That's how we make that life choice. This is disrespectful to the New York basketball consumer. You're trying to vie for the New York City basketball consumer. That's like vying for someone's heart. In this Brooklyn and you can hear all the Brooklyn atmospherics in the background, I felt like I could do a very authentic pod for you, like we were just standing on the corner rapping. New York City, this is about respect. When the Nets signed Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, the Knicks should have gone quiet. I don't say this as the fan of the team across the river. I say this as a New Yorker. Don't call attention to yourself. Don't talk to the press. Shut the fuck up. Because at the end of the day, Knicks fans, nobody played you. That's what all Knicks fans are basically saying, making excuses for this team. Oh, they played me. No, ain't nobody played you, Knicks fans. You played yourself. The Knicks had a press conference to apologize to their fans because their fans are shouting, sell the team at Dolan. I'm going to tell you how that whole shit came about. I'm going to break it down for you. James Dolan was sitting courtside with 5 super bad prostitutes. I don't know if they're Jeffrey Epstein prostitutes or who's taken over that business and filled that gap in, but I know I've seen James Dolan at Madison Square Garden several times, and either he's sitting next to one business associate or he's sitting next to at least 3 super bad prostitute, high class, $7,000 a minute prostitutes. So now he's sitting in front of his prostitutes and he makes the mistake of thinking, because he's a John, he makes the mistake of thinking to himself, oh, these are my bitches. Because I'm JT. And that's what JT do. Straight shots, baby. So now he's in Madison Square Garden. He's sitting with his bitches. Not his bitches. He's a John. He's a trick. And all over the